bringing you news, politics, and whatever else tickles my fancy. Welcome to the Ho Ho Show, and I'm your host, Ho Ho. Broadcasting from the Semi in Woodstock, Ontario. Nice, lovely Canada. Welcome to the Ho Ho Show. And as always, I am your host, Ho Ho. Well, guys, I think I'm going to get away from the NFL a little bit. You know, as a friend and colleague told me today that, and I completely and utterly agree with him, that this whole NFL thing it's taking away from real news and real issues that people really need to be aware of. It's one of them things that, the left is amazing at doing, is that they use, social issues like this, social justice issues, like what's going on in the NFL to, they use it to their advantage, and they do things under the radar that the American people don't want, in hopes that we won't notice and don't pay attention to. So, with that as my, I guess you can say, introductory message, let's, kind of get right into it. First and foremost, one of the things that's going on is the, no repeal as of yet on the, on Obamacare, and of which case I don't know what type of magic deadline they're talking about. They have to have something on the books for a repeal, by a certain date. I've got no idea what that is all about. Maybe that's something I should research and get into a little bit more, but it really looks like, considering they're not doing anything, they're him-hawing around. And I mean, let's face it, the reason why they're doing this is because they're Republicans that they are the Republican wing of the Democratic Party, and they really don't want anything to do with repealing Obamacare. I mean, let's face it, if they were actually serious about doing this, they would have done this a long time ago. Whenever Obama first got this thing pushed through the House of Representatives and the Senate, if Republicans were really serious about doing something about it, they would have had something written up and ready to go the day Trump took office. But they didn't. Why? Because they're not serious about doing anything about it, because that, in a matter of speaking, is what they want as well. And the only thing that we as the American people can do is get rid of them. Get rid of them. Get them out. I mean, I for one am not going to be voting for somebody just because they have an R in front of their name. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. There are websites out there. Oh, good grief. And of course, I've got to bring it up. There's websites out there that, they flat show you. They have every single Republican on that list, and it's a grading scale based off of conservative values, based off of, the Republican platform, based off of constitutional, rules that, it grades them and lets them know what kind of a score they have. And I tell you what, it's pathetic how many of these guys are Republican in name only. And I know that's a word that, a rhino, it's one of them things that's thrown around, but I mean, what does it truly mean? And truth be told, all it's talking about is a Democrat that flies an R in front of his name. That's all it is. He's a Democrat. Pure and simple. That's what these people are. And it's one of them things that I, for one, I want the American people to wake up and not vote for somebody just because he has an R in front of his name, because they're trying to play, party politics, and they're only voting for an R. Why are people so stupid to do that? I have no idea. I really don't. I really don't. It's, how can you be Well, okay, let's just put it this way. It's kind of like bitching, moaning, and complaining on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, talking bad about the NFL, and then going home and then watching the game. It's like, really? You mean you're going to complain about what they're doing, and you're going to tell them how unpatriotic it is, and how these people should be fired, and how they should be suspended, and how they should be benched, and how they need to just put down their party politics and go to work and play some football. And you're going to go home and watch a game, not put your money where your mouth is, because, heaven forbid that you actually change part of your routine and take a stand against something instead of just doing what you always do, just bitch about something and then go support it, at home when nobody's watching. And they can't tell you how much of a hypocrite you really are. Yeah, I said it. You're a hypocrite. So there you are. But, that me, for one, I don't want to see these people get put back in the office, and that's one thing about conservatives, and most Republicans, truth be told. We need a reason to go to the ballot box. We're not going to go just because of party politics. I mean, let's face it, that's why most of these people even got elected into office, is because, the Republicans made their voice heard in wanting Trump to become president, and they owe their job to Trump. And how were they thanking him? Oh, let's see, they're not doing much to get the wall built. I mean, I have been told that there are like 12 different 12 different plans and building plans that has been done for it. I guess they are making progress in some places with building the wall. And of course, that's one of them things that they don't want to talk about on on the news. They don't want, that type of word to get out, that Trump actually is doing his job. He is doing what he promised he was going to do, and he is getting the wall built, I will be honest, though, I haven't had that confirmed through a lot of different sources, because it's something that nobody wants to talk about. And why is that? Because they don't want people to know that Trump actually is doing what he promised he would do. It just makes sense to me. Of course they don't want people to know. They want people mad at him. Of course they do. But I digress. But yeah. So these people, they're not going to change, and I mean, let's face it, they are not going to get affected by, by the politics. They're not going to be affected by, the staying of Obamacare. They're not going to be affected by, whenever we actually go into the full lives system and, single payer, they're not going to be affected by this. It's one of them things that's funny. Now, I'm up here in Canada. They have single payer. They used to have a free market system. And what happened up here in Canada? Well, I'll tell you what happened. It's simple. The same thing that's going to be happening. The same thing it is happening in the United States. Except right now we have enough pushback that people don't want to go for it. That's what the thing is they screwed up the system so bad. They couldn't even implement the thing correctly, and they have so much pushback that they really can't implement it 100% the way they want it. And what happens whenever that happens? The VA, except it's all over the place. Did you know that in the complete life system, infants are worthless? Yeah. You have an infant, your infant is sick, it needs a surgery. He or she needs some type of a surgery to save his life. Your infant might not get it. Why? Because the government has not invested anything in your infant's life and therefore has no value socially. Yeah. You don't believe me? Read up on it. The True Lives System. Read up on it. It's disgusting. And these are things that are not going to affect any of the senators or any of the politicians, because they're going to be put at the front of the line. They're going to be able to go outside the public sector and go into the private sector in order to get health care. Or I hope they don't. I mean, hell, if I was a doctor, I don't care how much money he had, I wouldn't do it. Hell no. You know? But this is what's going on up in Canada. You know? They used to have a free market system, and their healthcare was good. Their healthcare was good. You know? And so then the government decided that they wanted to take it and they wanted to, you know, socialize it. You know? Now, people can't get what they need or what they want. Regardless of the money, regardless of whether they're willing to even pay out of pocket for it themselves and not have it be covered under insurance, they don't want it. They're like, no, you can't do that. You know? And so what they do is they come down to New York. You know, they come to America and they get health care down here. Why? Because we have better health care to where you're not limited by what you can do through Obamacare, through a single payer system, through the full lives system. And they come down here because they don't have that option up in Canada. The same, and that's coming here. You don't believe me? It's already happening, guys. It is already happening. Okay, there was a kid. All right, I do not remember the absolute specifics, but what I do know is this. Okay, his situation was hopeless. He had, and I'm throwing an arbitrary number, he had like 6 months to live, and that was it. The doctors are like, you've got this bad, and there is absolutely nothing that we can do about it. You've got 6 months to live, and that's being nice. You could die right now. And you're medically untouchable for us. There's nothing we can do for you. All right. Well, there was an experimental procedure that they could have done on this kid. And they were like, hey, if he has no chance of survival, no chance to live through this, you guys can't do anything for him. Let us take a shot at this. You know, even if it's just a 2% chance that he'll survive, he'll make it through it. That's 2% more chance than what he had yesterday. Let's try this. Let's do this. And they said no. It wasn't going to cost them anything. It wasn't going to cost them a dime. This was an experimental procedure that the people wanted to do for the family. It wasn't going to cost anything. It wasn't going to cost the family anything. They were like, hey, just, you know, hey, we have something. And it's experimental. And I understand that it's experimental, but it's not going to cost you anything. Let us try to save your son or save your daughter. Let us try. The government said no. Because the government, one, didn't want to be proven wrong. That there could have been something that they can do. And the government didn't want to look inferior to the private sector, to somebody that could have saved his son or his daughter. They said no. Now, is that the type of government you want to support? Is that the type of health care you want for America? I mean, if it is, then by all means, go to Canada. Yeah, exactly. I mean, people from Canada, they come here to get good health care. If that, that's one of them things that bug the holy hell out of me. You know, if you want a socialist type of a government, if you want socialized health care, go to a country that has it. Ask them how fond they are of it. You know, ask any Canadian up here. They'll tell you the same stinking thing. They don't like it. Because you pay out the ass for something you can't even use. Because of the lines. Because, you know, there's only so much epinephrine in the system. And whenever you got 5,000 people that's wanting the same damn thing because everybody's promised an equal share of everything, then they have nothing to give anybody. Because everybody gets pushed to the back of the line, and the only people that end up getting helped are, you know, the politicians. You know, the special interest donor groups, them type of people. Oh yeah, they get pushed up to the front of the line because they're classified that their lives mean more than the average everyday citizen. Folks, that's what it means to have privilege. That the rules that everybody else have to live by, they don't have to live by. The lines that everybody else have to wait in, they don't have to wait in them. The death panels that's coming if we get this, single payer and full lives system, they're not going to be put on those death panels. They'll get pushed to the front of the line. They'll get the health care that somebody else is supposed to get. So this is something y'all don't want. If you don't like the flag, then get out of the country. If you don't like the national anthem, get out of the country. If you don't like In God We Trust, then get out of the country. But first, give up your money, because guess what? Every single dead president on them suckers has In God We Trust underneath it. If you don't like what America stands for, if you don't like freedom, if you don't like liberty, then get the hell out. We don't want you. Instead of changing America to fit your worldview, why don't you go to a country that already has the worldview you're trying to bring here? Go to Venezuela. Go to Cuba. Venezuela is 10 years ahead of us as far as their, if you want to look, truth be told, on the economic system and the political field of Venezuela, they had a vibrant economy. Food, oil, farmland, animals, all kinds of things in Venezuela. Until, and they elected this. They wanted this. They elected a socialist into power, and he said that I will give everybody what they want, what they need, and they won't have to work for anything. That's basically what he told them. I mean, geez, does that sound familiar? Go on welfare. We'll take care of you. We'll take from A and give to B. You'll have, regardless of anything, you'll have all the health care you need. But, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. And that's what's going on in Venezuela. Venezuela is 10 years ahead of us. If we stay on the same path we're on right now, Venezuela that's going to be what America looks like. And they are going into zoos and killing animals for food because they're starving. That's right. They're going into zoos and killing lions, killing tigers, killing bears. Oh my. I couldn't resist. I tried. I tried to hold myself back once I said lions because I knew what was coming out of my mouth next. And when lions came out of my mouth, I was like, oh no, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Bears. Oh my. There it is. But no, seriously, guys, though, I mean, that's what's going on over there. I mean, look at the news, for crying out loud. Look at what's going on over there. Government took control of everything, and now they have ran out of other people's money. All right? If you guys really think socialism is so great, let me tell you a story. All right? And then I'm going to go to break. But here's my story, all right? There was a teacher, I couldn't tell you what class this was, and I don't know if it was high school, whether it was college, none of those details matter. I don't know. And it doesn't matter, all right? But he said, we are going to do a socialist experiment throughout this entire year. And they were like, oh, this sounds amazing. What is it? He goes, well, it's simple. I take everybody's grades for every homework assignment, for every test, every single thing that you get graded on. I will average up I will average the entire grade out, and everybody will get the same grade. It'll be an average, and everybody gets the same grade. So the person who busted his ass and studied and studied and studied is going to get the same grade of the student that didn't turn shit in and didn't try and didn't do anything. They were like, yeah, this sounds amazing. Everybody's going to pass. This is great. Nobody is going to be left behind. Everybody's going to succeed. This is going to be great. So, there in the beginning, you had, one, maybe two students that didn't turn anything in. And, their scores got averaged out. And everybody passed. And then as the year went on, I'm going to shorten the story down a bit, of course, because, there ain't no need to, keep you guys lingering around for something whenever you know what's going on. But as the year progressed, and as the grades came in, and as the homework assignments went on, less and less people was doing the homework. To where you only had like 2 or 3 students that were, trying their absolute damnedest to carry the weight of the entire class. And eventually they gave up too. Because they're busting their ass and getting A pluses, and by that time, because everybody else had given up and checked out, that even them busting their ass couldn't get them a passing grade, and so they gave up too. And nobody was doing the homework. Nobody was getting good grades on the test. Everybody failed the class. That, my friends, is truth in socialism. You guys wonder why the rich people is hiding their money overseas? It's because we're turning into a socialist nation. They don't want to carry the weight of the deadbeats that don't want to get off their ass and get a job. Can you blame them? I can't. I can't say as if I would do anything different than what they're doing. We have the highest corporate tax rate on the globe. Why? That's like, it's funny because it's like, you get gas, at Bigfoot, and it's, $2.15. And then right across the street, you've got another gas station. You got a Casey's gas station. And they got gas for, $1.25, $1.25. Why would you go? Why would you go and get gas at the gas station? It's going to have $2 plus gas whenever you can go just across the street and get $1.25 gas. Why would you do that? Would you blame that person for doing that? No, you're going to tell the person across the street with the high gas prices, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Do you want to sell gas or do you not want to sell gas? Because the question is simple. Do you want companies to repatronize their money, repatronize their businesses, and bring the businesses back to America, or do you not? If you do, then it's simple. You've got to lower your prices and you've got to be competitive on the global market. Otherwise, none of it matters. And if you do that, you lower that corporate tax rate, then the money will come back. If the money comes back, you can get people the hell off welfare because they won't be able to run away from a job. You don't believe me? You don't want to support that idea? Guess what? That's Reaganomics. Guess what? That's the exact same shit that JFK was talking about before he was assassinated. That is JFK's tax plan. That is Ronald Reagan's tax plan. And why can't we do that now? We know what the results are going to be because it has been proven in history that it works. It has worked here. We have done it. Why don't we do it again? Why are we sitting here complaining that nobody wants to come to our gas station to buy our $2.25 a gallon gas? whenever they can go across the street and get $1.25. And then we want to bitch, moan, and complain because they want to come over to our store and get a Polar Pop after they get done filling up across the street. Really? You should be lucky they're willing to come over here for a Polar Pop. Consider yourself fortunate. Alright. I think I've gone on long enough on that one. I want to take a quick break. And when I return, since I've covered Venezuela, I want to cover something else that's been in the news. Something that, Obama's really, not Obama, something that Trump is really getting, he's getting kickback from. He's getting blamed for, actually. I guess that's a better word. He's getting blamed for it, and he is wrongfully getting blamed for it. So, when I return, I want to talk about Dominican Republic. No. Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. Yeah, the Puerto Rico, I think. Yeah. All right, again, I am broadcasting from the semi up here in Woodstock, Ontario, on the Ho Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho Ho. There's one more thing I want to cover on that last segment, and I really went long on that. I understand that, but I don't apologize because this is information that you guys need to know. This is a reality you guys need to be made aware of. It really is. This is something that affects your everyday lives, but this was hilarious. All right. I know people, just one or two people, and some of these people that I know that, they're not all, conservatives. They just don't grasp the conservative tree, and, it was funny because, I told the person, I totally believe in a 0% corporate tax rate. Follow me here. Do you think for one moment that any company that makes anything in the United States is going to eat the cost of the taxes that they pay, or are they going to just, take that downstream to where it's paid for by the consumer? Well, obviously, it's going to get paid by the consumer. They're not going to eat that cost. They're not going to, let it eat up their profits. Of course not. I mean, if a company doesn't make money, a company goes under. That's just a fact of it is. That's the fact of it is. That's just the way it is. The fact of the matter, that's the way it is. All the tax money that gets charged to a corporation is paid for by you and me, the consumer. That's who pays for it. It is what it is. Like it or hate it, doesn't matter. I don't care. It is what it is. That's the reality of it. So the only true way to do this is because, we're getting charged taxes out the ass. We're getting charged whenever we make money. We get charged when we buy something. We get charged when we die. We got a death tax in New York State. That's, New York. Yeah, they got a death tax. They charge you money if you die. You can't just die in New York. Oh, no. We want a piece of your pie. Really? This money's already been taxed once. What the hell you need to tax it again for? But yeah, that's what to do in New York. A death tax. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that the way New York says, I love you? Yeah. Did you know that's a liberal state? Yeah, liberals have been running that state for quite some time. Does it surprise you? Doesn't surprise me. But, no. Back to what I was saying. But I was talking to this gal, and, she didn't like the idea that I said that with the corporate tax rate. And she was like, well, these people shouldn't be, making their goods and sending their stuff overseas and whatnot. They should be repatronizing it. They should be doing all that stuff here, and they should be penalized for, making their stuff overseas and then selling it here. I go, really? She goes, yeah. It's like, I believe that. I go, really? You do? You believe that? Yeah. I don't even know how they can get away with something like that. Why they even let them do it? I go, oh, okay. You don't understand that? No, I don't. Oh, okay. All right. Let me explain it to you. You see, whenever you buy things that are made in America, you're buying, you're paying for somebody's union dues. You're paying for somebody's higher cost of living. You're paying for somebody's taxes. You're paying for somebody's health care. That costs money. You're paying for, some guy at McDonald's that wants a $15 an hour job. That's what you're paying for. And believe me when I tell you, you don't want to pay for that. And given the option, you're not going to pay for that. Oh, yeah, I would. Oh, really? Okay. I want you to close your eyes and mentally walk around your house. How many of the things have a Made in the USA label on it? Or how many of the things in your own house have Made in Korea, Made in Taiwan, Made in China? You are the very reason why they do this. Because you don't want to buy Made in America because it costs too much. And you're the reason why they send it over there, because they know people will buy it. Oh, she was so pissed off at me, she literally had to leave the store because she did not want to hear that she was her own problem. How hypocritical is that? But that's the truth. These guys don't realize that they don't want to live up to their own ideology. That's what I find that's one of the things that piss me off about so many liberals. They don't even want to live up to their own ideology. Everybody is a conservative on tax day. Nobody wants to pay them higher taxes. Everybody wants to find as many loopholes as they can find in order to pay as little taxes as possible. Everybody is a conservative on April 15th. Oh yeah, everybody. Nobody wants to live by their own liberal ideology. They don't want to be held accountable to their ideology. Most people piss themselves off if they really want to get down and dirty with it. She does. I thought it was funny. Hell, I was proud of myself that I pointed out to a liberal how ignorant they are because of how hypocritical they are and how they are their own problem. I laughed. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I was so proud of myself, but I countered ignorance with facts. And here's the sad thing. This person will not change her views. She will stay liberal. She'll stay liberal until either she wakes up or she gets robbed. A liberal is just nothing more than a conservative who hasn't been held up at gunpoint yet. I've heard that one too. I don't know how much truth is behind that one. I've not been held up at gunpoint, and I've never heard anybody, change their Second Amendment view on guns just because they're held up at gunpoint. I've never heard of that one either. But that's just one of the things that I think is funny. But it's a sad state of affair whenever somebody whom is, whenever they are approached with facts that point out the hypocrisy of their ways and that completely point out how ridiculous it is and how using real life scenario, real life situations, historical facts to point out the obvious, the socialism does not work. That these other things that they stand for do not work. Not long term. They don't. Whoopi Goldberg once said that communism is great until you put people in charge of it. Socialism is amazing, but eventually you run out of other people's money. And then what happens? Revolution. Oh yeah. Revolution. Just makes me wonder how far into something, because something's going to give. Something's going to give. I don't know what. I don't know when. But I pretty well have decided on a logo for the Ho-Ho Show. I've pretty well decided on what it's going to be. All right. There is and I'm going to make hats. I'm definitely going to look into doing this because I've decided on what that logo is going to be. But it's a simple phrase. And of course it's a 3% type of a saying. And this is completely constitutional. Because within the framework of the Constitution, that the Constitution was put forth to put a government in place to uphold to a certain standard. And it was also put in place that when that government became destructive of those standards, it is up to the people to dissolve such government and create another. Most people like to just put in that first part, to dissolve the government, but what they fail to realize that you can't just dissolve the government, you need to create another. And truth be told, guys, if you get rid of all the bullshit, and I don't mean like every one of the amendments, okay? You don't even need to you can still get rid of 13, 14, and 15. You can get rid of those. There ain't no need for them stinking things to be in there, not in today's day and age, because I think everybody can acknowledge that, everybody's people. People are people. And that's one of them things that irritate the hell out of me when it comes to racism. Because it's like, guys, okay, black people in the hood have it just as bad. White people in the inner city have it just as bad as black people in the inner city because they're all in the inner city. They're all in there together. And black people in rural America have it just as good as the white people do. Yeah, granted, I live in small town USA. Small town USA. All right, the town I live in isn't really a diverse town, but we have Chinese people, we have Mexican people, we have black people, not a lot of them, but they're there. And guess what? They're living pretty good. Now, these guys are living just as good, if not better, than most of the white people in there. So, I mean, you can't claim that black people have it so bad whenever, one of the things that make America the greatest nation on earth is opportunity. And sometimes, in order to get out of a bad situation, you've got to move. Sometimes, back in the day, that's what people did. I was listening about, I was listening on the Wayne Dupree show, and they were talking about the steel workers from Pittsburgh. Whenever the steel industry shut down, there wasn't any more jobs, so they had to go. They had to go to where the jobs were, and they had to migrate out. It was a mass migration out of Pittsburgh. Same thing happened up in Detroit when the car industry dried up. There was no more jobs. People had to move. You can't just stay in a bad You can't just stay in a bad situation because it's your home. Sometimes you've got to move to where the jobs are. And I don't know why we're so locked in on the idea that, I don't know why we're so selfish as to think that I want a job, that means you got to bring one here. No. Humble yourself, man. Humble yourself. Don't expect somebody to do for you. You've got to be willing to do for you. And if you're not willing to do for you, how can you expect anybody else to do it for you? I mean, come on, man. But yeah, they moved to where the jobs were. Detroit, they moved to where the jobs were. Chicago, hey, you know what? You're going to have to move where the jobs are. People down in St. Louis and Ferguson, you're really going to expect a company to come back whenever you just got done burning it down. Why? Because you was mad. I wouldn't put a business down there. Oh, hell no. Why the hell would I want to do that for? But we were mad and we need jobs. Well, just stop burning your jobs down then. You just closed down the coffee shop. That's all right, boss. I'll be back in a couple hours because we're going to riot and burn the place down. Really? You're going to get rid of your job because you're angry? Okay. Yeah. How angry are you going to be when you no longer have a paycheck and now you're going to lose your house? Have to live off of welfare for the rest of your life because you're too stubborn to leave and go to where the jobs are. Yeah, I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. So, moving on to the topic that I was actually wanting to cover whenever I got back from break is something that I'll get back to in a couple minutes. I promise this time. I promise this time. Once again, I am broadcasting from Woodstock, Ontario in the semi on the Ho Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho Ho. You can follow me on Twitter, you can find me on Facebook, or you can just go to my website, thehohoshow.com. Email me, hoho@thehohoshow.com. All right, guys, so the issue that I wanted to get to for a while is Puerto Rico, or at least I think it's Puerto Rico. You know, the what's that called? The province that the U.S. has, a territory the U.S. has down there south of Florida. You know, I think Puerto Rico. I think that's what it is. The one that got hit so hard with hurricane. I can talk. Man, I can talk. I really can. I have done it before. I have been doing it for many a year. You know, once or twice. I just learned how to talk like 2 years ago. I mean, I'm 38. You know, so I've been talking for a couple years now. So, you know, bear with me. But no, I know I'm not quite right, guys. I know. But Puerto Rico, you know, they got hit with that, hit with the hurricane. And I tell you what, I mean, it's irritating that the left is trying to tell you that, oh, Trump ain't doing his job. That because the Puerto Rico is full of so many Latinos that he hates Latinos. Okay, guys, let me educate you on something. Okay, Trump has done. Okay, the only thing that he might have done wrong in this is he acted too quickly before he had a plan. Okay? But even still, all right, putting that aside, the supplies are there already, okay? Puerto Rico, okay, at one time, you know, they pushed the Navy out of Puerto Rico completely. They pushed them out. I was like, we don't want you guys here no more. Leave. And we said, okay. You know, what can you do? You know, we're trying to respect their wishes, and we said, okay, we'll go. So because of that, you know, the Navy bases were shut down, run down, and I guess not in good working order, maybe, at least in some way, shape, or form. And, you know, so whenever the ships got to port and they got there, the problem was they didn't have the logistics side covered on the island, okay, especially in the inner island, the inner part of the island, okay. You have flooding still going on there. You have, people that are just okay. Look, let me explain something to you, okay. Texas, Florida, okay. You have, it's not, it's still attached to the mainland, okay. It's still attached to the mainland. Okay, so you have people outside of the disaster area of people whom wasn't affected by the disaster area being able to come down and help and bring logistics, bring trucks, bring this stuff in and get the logistics taken care of and get food and water and medicine and help from, outside the disaster area. Okay? So you've got way more things at your disposal that you can utilize, that you can take care of the problem, so that's why Florida wasn't so bad. Yeah, it was bad, but even still, just look at it that way. It wasn't that bad, not compared to Puerto Rico. Texas, same thing. You have people that can just come down. It takes a day to get down there. Come down, and there you go. Let's take care of this. Let's do it. Let's chip in and let's help. Over there, you got an island surrounded by water. The only way onto that island and off of that island is by boat or by air. That's it. That's all you got. Those are your only two options. Like it or hate it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the reality. Okay? So, the stuff's getting there. It's there, in the ports, on the boats. It's just waiting to go inland. What the problem is the people that are there are so... they're so stuck in what's going on. I mean, they are, they're seeing their lives that have been just completely uprooted and destroyed. And they're having a hard time, getting into the trucks, getting into the semis, and distributing this stuff. I mean, logistics outside the port has broken down. And it ain't the fault of Trump. It's the way it is. I mean, there's only so much these people can do for themselves when everything that they know has been destroyed. Think about it from that point of view. Everything they know has just been destroyed. So, there's only so much you can do on that aspect. I mean, they need to, that island, or those islands, whatever. It has to be completely rebuilt. Even the power grid from the ground up is going to have to get rebuilt. So much was destroyed. So much was destroyed. So, they're trying, and they really are doing the best they can to get the logistics figured out, because this is a scenario that just hasn't happened before. They've not been... even think about it. I mean, even if Hawaii would have gotten hit, you would have a hell of a time getting Hawaii, put back together. And we have a military base on Hawaii, and we would have a hell of a time trying to get the logistics fixed and get food where food needs to go. So that's the problem that they're facing right now. People are... I guess surprisingly enough, though, I mean, they really haven't had, mass deaths or anything of that nature because of the lack of water and, because of the lack of power and stuff like that. I mean, the things are bad. And, they really are working on, communications down there and different things of that nature. They're trying to get this figured out, and they really are working on it, But the fact of the matter is they have... they've got the food, they've got the water, they got the medicine, everything is there. It's just, they're trying to get through some of the red tape with getting that stuff out of the ports. That's all it is. I mean, if you guys have not dealt with logistics as far as getting things out of a port and into the mainland, then, I mean, it's a hassle. It really is. I mean, I drive up to Canada all the time, and it is a lot different whenever you're talking seaport and land crossing. Land crossing is gravy compared to seaport entry. All right, you've got to cross so much red tape. You've got to have all your T's crossed and all your I's dotted. And if you ain't got that, you might as well just turn the ship back around and go back home because they ain't letting it in. That's just the reality of it. I've seen it happen. I have seen it happen. Totally. Seaport's a pain in the ass. So they're working on it. Okay, they have everything there. All the aid is there. They're just trying to get it brought inland. And that problem is because, they've got so much work still that needs to be done. Roads that need to be repaired. Roads that are flooded. They've just got a lot of work to do. The power grid needs to be rebuilt. It's going to take some time. I mean, it really is. I mean, they have to rebuild this thing from the ground up, and they have to figure out, and come up with solutions to a problem that they've never had to come up, with solutions before. So, I mean, it's just going to take some time. Things are looking better. Things are looking a hell of a lot better, but it's still going to take some time. You can't blame Trump for something like this. He didn't have anything to do with it. He's been doing nothing but busting his ass, doing as much as he can to try to get this fixed, to try to get this resolved and get these people taken care of, to get them on the road to recovery as quickly as possible. He's doing all he can do, so all we can do is give him our support. Let him know that, yeah, okay, we see what's going on and we see that it ain't easy. Just keep up the good work, man. Just keep trying. Keep pushing forward, and that's all you can do. Keep pushing forward. So, guys, that's all I got for you today. Definitely was a lot longer of a show than what I intended on it being. Just kind of a heads up on something. All right, I've got some awesome things that I've done. You guys, I'm sure, have heard me talk about, in the past on previous episodes that I did upgrade my mobile studio equipment. I've gotten some stuff it'll definitely, just give me so much better audio quality when I'm out on the road. And I am excited as hell to be able to start using it. It's, the stuff that I've bought's already coming in. So next time I go out on the road next week, I will have that, new addition to, the radio show in the semi. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, wait, I was on air. Oh, well. It was a good one. I farted. No, I didn't fart. I burped. It was just yeah, I just burped. So we're good. But anyway, so I've upgraded my mobile studio equipment. That's coming in the mail. Actually, most of it should be there. The other thing that I gone and done is I got it, I've had some people, give me some feedback, and, it's just kind of one of them things with, the information age, the age of the internet, the age of geekdom. We are a visual people. Hey, we are. So one of the things that I was basically told that I should look into is doing, video shows, some type of a video feed, live feed and stuff like that. So I did go ahead and get a camera so I can start doing that and playing with it and whatnot. So I'm like, I've got a lot of figuring out of stuff to do on it. I just got, a cheap camera just to kind of play around with it, get used to it, and see what I can do, and see if it's going to be an avenue that I really want to pursue. So I just got something cheap, something simple, and if it works out and if I like it, I'll definitely be upgrading my my visual equipment to just take this thing to a whole new level. So I'm excited on it. I really haven't decided what platform I'm going to be streaming live on. I don't know if I'm going to do any type of a simulcast or if I'm just going to be using one avenue, because I know there's YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing any type of a simulcast or just keep it simple, stupid, and just do one or the other. So I really haven't decided. So, any ideas, any feedback, any particular place you would like to use that you already use, that would be awesome. I'll do that. Facebook or Twitter is pretty much what I figure I'd use. But of course, every video will go to my YouTube channel. And, also every single video I will also be uploading to my website, thehohoshow.com. I will have a separate page that will just be dedicated for videos and, only God knows what else I'm going to be putting on there. But no, it's actually kind of funny too, guys, because I just out of curiosity, I was looking into green screen stuff, and actually come to find out it's a lot cheaper to get, like basically entry level green screen stuff. It's really not that expensive, and it's, even to get good stuff that'll, basically do the job, it's, it's not all that expensive. And, truth be told, some of the more expensive aspects of it is just doing lighting. And even that's not all that bad. The setup that I would like to get is it's a rack, a frame that holds the, the fabric. And it is a 6 feet by 9 feet. So, definitely plenty of space on there. It also even comes with lights, a couple different, lights. And the whole setup is less than $100. I was actually shocked as shit. I really was. The only problem is my studio in the attic does not have the room for me to put a big old 9x6 freaking green screen frame, because, that's one of them aspects too, is you can't be like right up on it, because you don't want to cast a shadow onto the green screen, because, well, that just causes problems. So you can't do that. So you got to have, a lot of room and a lot of space in order to properly do green screen. And so I can't go that avenue, at least not at this time. But one of the options that I'm looking into is a smaller screen. And, basically all I'll really be able to do with that is like, basically headshots, or I guess bust shots, or I don't even know what the hell you would call that. But more or less kind of having me there off to one side or the other side or in the middle, and just having some type of a background behind me, whether it be, a video playing in the background or just whatever, a picture or whatnot. And, I'll tell you what, whenever I first started, even considering that as an idea, just the stupid randomness that was coming into my head as far as, places I can put behind me. Good grief, I can do a video from Paris, France. I've never been to France. I don't speak French. But it would be amazing to do just the stupid random stuff that just came into my head. Heck, I can do some type of a video from Mars. I can interview Sweet Mama Brown. just the randomness that was coming into my head, guys. So the green screen is definitely coming into my future, and just be prepared. Just be prepared. I definitely welcome people to tune into my YouTube channel. I'll have to find out what my YouTube channel is so I can let you guys know. And of course, every video will also be on my website, so feel free to go there as well. And so yeah, that's all I got for today. Thank you very much for joining me and listening in. Saturday, I don't know where I'm going to be, but I will be broadcasting live in the US of A, probably somewhere in either Michigan or maybe in northern Illinois by the time I get there. I don't know. And of course, on Sunday, I will be doing a couple different shows. I will be doing an episode on the Ho Ho Show with a good friend and colleague, Trucker Al. We're going to be discussing just life over the road, ELDs, and just some of the different, hazards and, things that a trucker has to deal with, and just everything that a driver should know in dealing with and being around truck drivers. So I definitely welcome you to listen into that one. It will be a good episode. I am excited about it. But that'll be going on Sunday, broadcasting live. I'm hoping about 5 o'clock Central. That's 1700 hours Central Standard Time. So, join in, check us out. And, all right, so you guys have a great day. Thank you very much. Good night. Sleep tight. And if them bed bugs bite them, by golly, bite them back.